mobile broadcasting when I was away. So that was the delay in getting through to you. I do apologize. All right,
Oh yeah,
cool.
no worries.
So we are live now with Aidan Dubins. Thank you, dude, for joining us. It's absolutely phenomenal to have you on all the way from Canada. Thank you for getting up early. We did get a message. You asked, could we start a bit later? But we've got two brothers from Cape Town that we'll be chatting to. So thank you for joining us so early in the morning.
Oh yeah, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay. So, you made an interesting comment about the title Coffee and Conversations with Champions. And it's about the champions component really is about speaking to those who get up and show up every day and do what they've got to do. It's not necessarily about winning. It's not necessarily about being the best, but that comes with time. That's what you're working towards, right? That's the end goal. So you are the champion, and the proof of that is this. There you go.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, okay. And going straight back to being a 1980s DJ, which is kind of fun. So there we go. All right. So can you tell us a little bit about who you are? And very cool, by the way, I see we got one of our clients in Crete, Maxi Kibbutz watching. That's kind of cool. And you've got someone saying hello here. Let me drop that on screen for you quickly, and then we can do your intro. There we go.
Oh
Can you
God,
see
hey.
it?
Oh.
So you got to tell us about that response. So give us a quick rundown. Who is Aidan, and then please tell us about this message.
Um, okay, so I guess the best way I can describe me is okay, I have type 1 diabetes. I started lifting 4 years ago as a result to try to get my blood sugar under control because when you are a type 1 diabetic, if you don't lift, you basically go from having a full life expectancy to potentially dying at 60 due to organ failure, other things. So I had to exercise. So I got into lifting pretty much. It was pretty much not really my choice, but out of all the options, I guess, I really just love lifting as a whole. I tried running for a solid year and I hated it because I'm terrible at running. It's also not that much fun. And yeah, I started lifting in April 1st of I started training April 1st, 2021. I only really started powerlifting I did my first meet about 2 years ago where I hit a 547.5 total.
Sure.
And then I hit 740 at last Nats, which is a story all for itself. But I totaled 782.5 in that prep. So I'd say for the last 2 years, I've added a good chunk to my total, and I'm looking forward to just trying to get as high up on the leaderboards as I could in the fastest time that I can. And that's really just always been the goal, just keep pushing higher and higher and hoping for the best.
Absolutely phenomenal intro and story. And the one thing that hit you hit me quite hard with that because I was involved in sports when I was young. I started drinking when I was 9 and I drank until the age of 36. I got sober at 36. I've been sober for 18 years. And the
Wow.
reason I do this is because if I didn't get sober, if I didn't get involved in sport, in martial arts, and in again in lifting and just gym and training and exercise, my life would have been in a very dark place. So I may have remained sober, but I would have been miserable and broken. And, it's made my sobriety through the difficult times very a lot simpler and actually a lot easier because you can go to the gym when you're having a rough day. For me, I can't go to the pub. So to hear you saying like you lifted to started training and lifting to extend your longevity and your quality of life, that's absolutely epic. And I have a radio show called the Disc Medical Monday Show, and I get to talk with a lot of medical experts. And there's a lady who comes on, Professor Lucille Bloomberg, who is a professor of infectious diseases, and she always talks about patient empowerment. And that's what made me think of this dude, which is so awesome because you're empowering yourself to maximize your quality of life and your longevity. So I have to applaud you for that. That's really, dude, that's awesome.
Thank
That's a
you. I
huge,
appreciate it.
really, and a really, really great role model. Well done, dude. Sure. So, let's chat a little bit about your first competition. What was that like? Because that's always fun. Who got you involved?
Uh,
Did you get bullied into it? What was the story?
okay, so my first meet was kind of so in the OPA there were this group called Iron Sisters, and they hosted meets in this tiny room in this basement, and
Awesome.
there was no room for spectators. It was just this white sort of like the size of the best way to put it is it was a racket court, and
Okay.
I there were no spectators allowed. It was by far the best. I got really, a lot of people are nervous about lifting in front of people. I got really lucky because my meet was literally just in front of like six people plus the three judges, and those six people technically weren't allowed to be watching, but they were watching anyway because there wasn't anyone to stop them from watching. And yeah,
So,
my
so
first meet, I hmm?
I was sorry, I was going to say there were more people watching than those to stop them watching, so they just carried on watching. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
And
Okay.
yeah, I totaled 547 and a half. I went 7 for 9. I missed my third bench on the rack command, and I would proceed to miss. It's actually kind of funny because I have a really love-hate relationship with my third bench. I missed most of like the first, like I only hit my third bench like my first three meets. I didn't hit a third bench press. It was only until four meets even. My first four meets, I didn't hit a third bench press just because I kept on jumping commands. And
All
it's only
right.
my fifth meet at UPF, where I went 9 for 9 for the first time. It was,
Sure.
or rather, this other local meet that I went 9 for 9 for the first time.
That's phenomenal. Listen, you're missing your rack commands on bench and particularly third bench as a new lifter. It's not such a bad thing. It happens. We have another comment here for you from Ethan. Let's
Oh
pop that
God.
puppy up here. No, okay, now I got to Iron Sisters meet venue is in a squash court. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, Ethan remembers it.
Huh? So Ethan was there.
Ethan wasn't there. He was gonna be there, but something I think he just had something to do. But yeah, Ethan's been I'm gonna quickly shout him out here. He has
Yeah.
been the greatest I have known out of everyone in the powerlifting community. I have known in the Ontario powerlifting community. At least Ethan was the first guy I met. He is really largely to do for the reason I'm actually in this sport. He introduced me to a lot of my friends, my oh
Okay. That's for Ethan. There you go. Yeah.
yeah, Ethan.
Mm,
Yeah, he introduced me to a lot of people. I messaged him. We talked about training, and he's always been like kind of like someone I can fall back on whenever like something isn't working. And like,
mhm.
yeah, he's really strong too. And yeah, he just is a large part of the reason why I have friends in this sport is because of him.
Oh, that's very cool. That's very cool. And he's dropping messages. And you look a little bit nervous here, what kind of message it's going to be, but they've been pretty good messages so far. So, Ethan, if you want to
Ethan
go
knows a
big,
lot about me too, so I have a feeling he's just going to say something that's absolutely unhinged.
okay, well, we can see. Ethan, I'll give you my bank details whether we post this or not, so we can put the message up live. We're accepting donations now. Uh, just kidding. So tell us about the community at that first competition. What was that like for you?
Oh, so the Ontario powerlifting community, I like to believe, is pretty, it's not tight. It's kind of the opposite of tight knit. If you are a powerlifter and you are in Ontario and you talk to people, then you'll effectively be a part of the community. It's very welcoming.
Mm-hmm.
It's very warm community. I've
Awesome.
learned so much. There are so many people who just coach for free. My second coach coached me for free for like a solid year. And then,
Mm,
yeah, it's just been a large part of my, I got so much stronger being in the community versus just kind of being, on the outskirts, not really doing anything, if that makes sense. Like the
100%.
moment you do your first meet, this is why I am a big preacher of the sooner you compete, the better,
Yeah.
because like the only way you're gonna get better at powerlifting is if you compete more. And that's my opinion, at least. Just
No,
because you
so
meet so many people.
yeah, I mean, let's talk about that because it's if you've ever worked with people in the gym or ever coached them, it's heartbreaking to an extent to get them to compete where they go, I'll compete when I can win or I can compete when I can. It's like, no, get on the platform and compete.
Yeah.
So why was it so important for you? What has it taught you about competing early? The value.
Uh, the biggest thing I'd say the community has taught me about just competing, and I guess a large part of like one of the biggest things that the community has just kind of taught me is just knowledge because you don't know, you don't realize, especially in lifting, like it seems
Mm,
so straightforward, but there's so much you don't know. I didn't start tracking, I didn't actually think, like, I didn't start using a belt until like 6 months into training because I didn't think I needed it and I thought it just helped with bracing, but I didn't realize how much of a difference it actually made to my strength. Same with
yes.
knee sleeves, same with a lot of other equipment. And like a large part of that is also there's stuff like that, but then there's also other stuff like with programming because there are a lot of good coaches out there, but there's also a lot of bad coaches. And there's a lot of coaches that like if you're a newbie in powerlifting, it doesn't really matter your coach because as long as you have semi-decent programming, you'll still progress most of the time. Um, but like there's just so much, the more you know about lifting and the more you can sort of learn to help your progress, the better because like just the more people you meet, the higher and higher level because you'll never sometimes you'll get lucky and be able to catch like high level lifters at a local meet.
Hmm.
Um, like for example, that band and barbells meets usually there's like a few guys. There's Kyle's there, Luke's there. There's a bunch of like really like good Ontario lifters there that can help. But like unless you actively search for those people, it's kind of hard to actually learn how to be a good powerlifter. Because like all the
Right.
information's online, but there's also a lot of little things that you don't
Yeah.
see, you know?
You know, the number one job of a coach is observation. And
Yeah.
that can be whether you're a powerlifting coach or powerlifter or just a coach, and you are able to give that advice and input to someone who's on the platform or at the gym. Hugely, hugely valuable. And it is time on the platform is invaluable because you are going to make mistakes and don't ever feel bad about missing your third bench attempt because I think about 6 or 7 years into my powerlifting career, I was at nationals, came up for my opening squat, and I've been coaching quite a lot of powerlifting. So I I would take out my opener, walk back, went all the way down, came up, thought that's not deep enough, and I went down again, and then came up. So which is absolutely nuts. So, we all make mistakes, but time on the platform is absolutely, absolutely invaluable. So, with the move to nationals, what was that like for you?
My national experience was, to put it bluntly, probably my worst meet experience ever for a variety of reasons. So I was a sub junior. This was my first real junior meet,
Mm-hmm.
and I was a sub junior. My best total as a sub junior was 719.5 kilos, and uh, which was for a sub junior is pretty okay,
Yeah.
in the plus 120s at least. Uh, but aging into juniors, I knew that I'd have to like fix my habits and just be better and get heavier and just get stronger in order if I want to like stand a chance at all. Because the goal has always been, to just be better and to more records, more stuff like that. And
Yeah.
like my nationals experience was, to put it bluntly, kind of am I allowed to swear on here?
Yeah, sure.
Oh,
It's
oh,
fine.
awesome. Okay, so my
All
Nats
cool.
experience was a complete fucking shit show. It
Yeah.
was bad. Like I like got so it was okay up until the second day I was there. I got moose AIDS, which is it was norovirus effectively. It was going around in
Oh, wow.
Ontario, and I wasn't warned that it was going around in Ontario until after I got it.
Oh.
So I puke. So like the day before my meet, I didn't have. I ate like 2 pounds of shrimp, and then well 2 days before my meet, and then like
Mm,
the day before my meet, I puked like 14 times because I didn't know how to get my vomit under control. And it's only after I took this anti-vomit medication and just like slowly sipped water that I got the vomiting
mm,
somewhat under
mm.
control. But at that point, I already lost like several kilos, and I effectively had no protein in my body, no calories, no nothing. So I was not happy.
And also probably low
Um,
on salt as well.
oh
Also
yeah, it
sugar.
was terrible. It
Yeah.
was awful. And what makes it worse is that my coaching group, Platform Ready Coaching, ended up giving moose aids to the entire Airbnb, which had like Colton,
Oh,
Liam, who are the
fuck.
head coaches of the team,
Mm, mm,
and they ended up like I didn't realize it was contagious until they got it, and then as a result, pretty much all of PRC got sick, and the only person who did well on PRC was Carson, who was my opponent, and he ended up winning nationals. And the bittersweet thing is that I do believe that there's some merit to training totals and like as long as they're performed to standard. And my bench pauses were never really that great, but usually I was able to pause what I was able to sort of
mm-hmm.
1-to-1 in training. Um, so like I ended up me and him were sort of neck and neck. We both told 782.5 in prep, both around the same difficulty. So like the sad part is that I do think I had at least a chance of beating Carson before Moose Aids, but after I got Moose Aids, and the main thing is going into squats, I was supposed to open like my openers were actually like higher than what I did not higher than what I did on BT, but like very close. So I was supposed to open at 302.5, 155, and 280 on
Mm-hmm.
deadlifts. And I ended up finishing the day with 310, 147, 145, and like I lost like I benched 165 in training, and I lost like 20 kilos off my bench due to sickness.
Sure.
It was bad, and I knew I was gonna lose after I squatted 310 and then failed 315, and so yeah, like it was not great and not my best experience. And like really, the sad part is there was really nothing I could do. The sickness was going around. I was just unlucky, got it. But yeah,
So, I mean,
that's nuts.
we have a comment which I'll share with you now, and then I want to ask you sort of what did it teach you? What how valuable as a lesson for your future lifting and tournaments was that experience? But let's drop this up here from Ethan.
Oh yeah, Ethan and I usually compete
Right.
at these. Ethan's also a national level competitor,
Mm-hmm.
and I think if he wants to, he'd be a great addition to this podcast.
But
But
we're gonna ask you to nominate someone, so we could do that now. Ethan, congratulations! Oh, Aiden, do I do one of these? He'll be cool to come on. I get the sense he'll be happy to come on. Yep.
but yeah,
Mm.
Ethan wants to,
Okay,
but
awesome.
yeah,
So, what?
Ethan,
Yep. Go ahead. Sorry.
or
Mm.
you go, you go.
Okay. No, no. So, what I was going to just go back to the question on what did it teach you about competition?
So the main thing that it taught me is that even this is kind of something that a lot of lifters preach, but like the difference between powerlifting and other sports is that hockey players, they compete literally almost every week. So
Yeah.
if they have a bad game, it's like, okay, there's going to be one next week. So it's in the end of the world. But with powerlifting, it's different. You can't compete every week. And if you did compete every week, you'd not be able to progress in the sport because you can't max out every week and get stronger. I mean,
Mm,
you could in the early days, but like you just can't really do that now. And like in Ontario, at least there aren't meets every weekend. That's just how it works. But like on that note, powerlifting as a whole, like you only compete like like I competed like 7 times last year, but that was also like my first year as powerlifting. So
mm.
this year I intend to limit the amount of competitions to like 3 max, I think. Yeah, I'm competing like 3 times this year. But I with powerlifting, like I had the main thing that I'm gonna answer your question. The main thing that nationals taught me is that even though I made such great strides and I invested all this time and effort, nutrition, like I started eating, my diet is something that is probably should be researched and studied by scientists to see how I'm still alive. But um like it really just taught me that you're not owed anything. So if you have a
Mm-hmm.
good prep
Sure.
or like a good squat day or a good bench day or even a good deadlift day or just if you just have a good prep as a whole, anything can happen to me too. Like the main thing that me and Colton were discussing, like we had so many conversations about tactics, things that we could do. None of them involved moose aids.
Mm,
And
mm.
I ended up getting moose aids, and that was that. And Colton, the only thing Colton could do was like try to get food in me and just try to recover, but it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
And like with like with nationals, it was just such a close competition. Like anyone who had something not going for them, that would be it. And I was the one, I guess I got unlucky and just got sick. And that's just what powerlifting is at the end of the day, because it doesn't matter how good you think you are, something else will come out of the blue and just hit you in the face hard.
How valuable a lesson is that for life?
Oh yeah, it's for life as a whole, it's also like it also kind of just like teaches you that with life it's kind of different because with life like with other things like, with school, with I guess work and other hobbies, like the more time and effort you put into studying, the better
Mm-hmm.
grades you'll get. But like I guess with university in particular, it kind of also relates here because with university you only have so few assessments. And it's kind of the same thing here. You don't know how good your studying method is until you get like a grade back or something. But yeah, like it really isn't, at least in my experience, like the despite how bad nationals went, the first thing that I did when I got home was throw 8 burgers on a pan and just get back to eating.
Awesome.
Like
Yeah.
the best thing that I took from that experience was just like, okay, I got hit really, really fucking hard. So I just got hit back harder. And
Mm,
that's how I treated this prep. And
beautiful.
yeah, now I'm going to NAPF and we'll see how I do there. But
Okay.
that's how I view it at least.
Phenomenal. I mean, those are two great lessons, right? You're owed nothing, you're entitled to nothing. And when you get hit, you hit back harder. And particularly hitting back harder with food, it's very, very important. So absolutely phenomenal. For you, what does the future hold in terms of what's planned and what's the dream? What can you talk about?
I believe that. So I used to be of the mindset that you don't want to share like things
Mm,
because it kind of gives you the dopamine before doing it. But I do believe that with that in mind, nothing is earned and you have to work through things in
yeah.
order to actually do them. So now that I have that new mindset, I do have a YouTube channel and I do like I'm kind of chasing it. I've my best squat right now is 315 and I'm chasing a 365 squat right now and everyone kind of a few people that are well not a few people just a handful of people told me how especially my coach, how big an 800-pound squat is and how rare it is, and
Mm-hmm.
like how almost because no junior in Canada has ever done it before. And that's kind of why I'm chasing it because I want to be that junior that defies that expectation. And I'm 19, I'm going to be 19 in a month. I still have a few more years. So I do believe that if I put on some enough size and with enough time and enough effort, then it is possible. It's just a matter of, you know, can my body gain that much size? And yeah.
And get you to that number.
Yeah.
But
On
yeah,
the other notes, though, I do want to there are a few records in the plus 120 national records I want to take. I think that world records are like they're kind of interesting because I won't know. I have to see if I actually can squat 800 pounds. If
mm,
then I can start thinking about world records because that's like just a completely different category. Because I don't know if I'm going to be built enough to squat the world record. I think the world record right now is 430 for junior plus 120s, and that's just like an unfathomable number. I think it's 430. I'm not 100% sure. I'm gonna have
mm.
to check sometime.
So sure,
But yeah.
but again, what you said is to show that it can be done. It's not You're not taking this as a personal thing for you. There's always legacy and these things that go with it, but the attitude of to show that it can be done is absolutely phenomenal. Are you involved in chatting with or any connection to other kids or young adults who are type 1 diabetic? And have you had an opportunity to chat with them about powerlifting and getting into lifting and the benefits?
Okay, I'm really glad you asked this question. So yes, but
Awesome.
here's the thing. So I had the opportunity to meet Jessica Butner, who is one of the best Canadian powerlifters of all time on the
Yeah.
women's side in the 84s.
And we love Jess.
She is,
Yeah.
yeah, she's awesome. She came to Afterburn to do this advertisement for this
Yeah.
Rascal Apparel, and I had one conversation with her. I forgot to get a picture. I regret not getting a picture with her, but she gave me a bunch of advice. She's super helpful. So I got to talk
Mm,
to her. As for other powerlifters with type 1 diabetes, they are such a rare. The thing is, type 1 diabetes is already pretty rare. When you're
mm,
factoring in a niche community like powerlifting, you
yeah.
don't see like I've met like 6 people with type 1 diabetes. There's this one named Abby, and then there's Louis Latour, who are like Abby is a really good bencher. Louis Latour is one of the best Canadian junior 120s of all time. And I've learned a lot from Louis in particular. As for people reaching out to me, I was really surprised. I've had like 3 people reach out to me. I can't remember their names, but they are like they're type 1 diabetics are just kind of dabbling in powerlifting right now.
Mm,
And they ask me for advice and I kind of just give them advice. And yeah, it's really interesting hearing from that because like they tell me that I'm sort of an inspiration to them. And it's just like, dude, I'm just a guy. Like I'm not that special. Unless,
yeah.
yeah, it's like it's so humbling. It's so wonderful. I love it whenever, yeah.
Yeah. Everyone has to start clearing the path, right? And the wonderful thing with lifting at you can start at any age. So you can get these health benefits and these gains at any age. And it is that when you're chasing stuff quietly, it does speak very loud. And it's a wonderful thing to see where you're going, okay, that's cool. I never thought of that. And I didn't think that it was even an option to try the sport or to try and, you know, being able to stand on a platform and to go for me. And it's, I feel very strongly about this, and I'm really grateful that we're chatting about it. To stand on a platform and win gold for your country, where I think at that stage, there was 2015, so 11 years before, I was drinking 20 drafts a day and a few months away from shooting myself. And to go from that, and that's the beauty of the sport, and what it makes the sport so wonderful and so safe is its linear progression, is the opportunity to chase targets. Then it's the opportunity to chase targets in sub junior, in junior, in open, and then when you get to my age, in masters, which is even better because the totals start to go down. you know, and like you can chase numbers in master one, then again in master. So it's something that you can stay with your entire life, and it's a very, very special sport. And where you coming up and showing people what can be done when you have type 1 diabetes, it's not a sentence to the running track, it's not a sentence to an aerobic studio, and with all respect to those sports, but where something comes with such a wonderful community, it's really a wonderful place to be. And it's a wonderful thing that you're doing. And just, not to put any extra pressure on you getting onto the platform, but it's you make a difference without even realizing it.
That means a lot, and I never really thought of myself as sort of representing other type 1 diabetics until they started like messaging me, and like it's such a niche community within a niche, and like I feel like, you know, like me just being out there because on one hand, it's kind of a little, it's not really, there's nothing in powerlifting that stigmatizes unless you're like a jerk to someone. If you're a jerk to someone, you will be stigmatized. And
Mm,
that has been like, because it's a very tight knit community. If you're mean, people find out. And
yeah.
that's just something you don't want to have on your conscience anyway. But um, like with type 1 diabetes, the sentiment is kind of like in our favor because a lot of people um, just sort of like a lot of people don't necessarily realize how much of a benefit it is to be a type 1 diabetic as a powerlifter because
Mm-hmm.
there's not really a lot of research into it, but like I consider myself fairly strong. But like me, Lewis, Jessica Buettner, like a good portion of people who have type 1 diabetes are really good powerlifters. Now, is that just as a result of insulin?
Mm.
I don't necessarily know if it's entirely that. It could just be the mindset of like does insulin help sort of you get better as a powerlifter? Maybe. Does it help as much as some people will say? Yeah.
Exactly.
Like with type
Yeah.
1 diabetes, it's kind of there's just so much more research that has to be done into it. And like on one hand, if you don't have diabetes, like you're not allowed to be on insulin in the IPF, but on the other, like it just comes with a lot more sort of negative side effects that aren't really like on one
Mm.
hand, yeah, sure, you could potentially be stronger with insulin, but on the other, like in my particular case, um, like I there aren't any plus 120 diabetic powerlifters as far as I'm aware.
Right.
And as a result, I'm sort of kind of being the test game pig for any others that will come after me. And like the main issue in my experience with that at least is that I don't know how heavy I could get realistically because when I got diabetes, I was on like a fifth of the amount of insulin I am on now.
Sure. Okay.
Like it's yeah.
In terms of just what the body is needed to support. Mm.
Hmm.
So we
It is.
accidentally deleted Ethan's comment. So we're just going to ask him to put
No.
that up. Yeah, no, sorry, Eth, please repost that. Um, I think it's something that needs to maybe be said, and we can say it here, that irrespective of, and I laugh because, I'm going to say, irrespective of the gift of diabetes for powerlifting, where you're able to take insulin, if you're not taking insulin, you're not in the IPF because you're not around. Okay, so one, that's the bottom line. Two, all the insulin in the world won't get you to elite status, won't get you to the numbers that you're moving at the moment without the hard work that goes with it. and the commitment and the understanding. And no, people need to understand how challenging it is, always in the back of your head, that as much as you love the sport and as much as you love doing what you're doing it ultimately to be here for as long as possible. And that, so for anyone who's wanting to post a comment about the advantages of insulin and who is not type 1 diabetic and taking insulin, that you need to understand very, very simply that this is a matter of life and death. And it's a matter of, you know, then just come and outwork the person. It's that simple. Then if someone wants to beat you, let them come and try and outwork you. Not make statements about the value of insulin, because if you stopped it, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be competing. It's life and death. And I just wanted to make that quite, make that statement and put my foot down on that, because people need to understand that you can post comments, but understand where the reality of the situation is before you do.
Absolutely. And like I think I haven't like it's hard to tell when someone's like I haven't gotten any direct comments or threats or anything for
Mm,
having diabetes. Like people make jokes and I think the jokes are really funny and like I appreciate the jokes. But there is like I do feel like there is sort of that sentiment out there of like sort of how much insulin helps. But on the other hand, it is just that fact. If I didn't take insulin, I would be dead.
yeah,
I would be dead a long time ago. I'd be dead in some ditch, some hole. But um, like, yeah. And I don't know. Like the thing about insulin too is that I've also had my butt kicked by a lot of people. There are a lot of people that are stronger than me without insulin. So like if
yeah,
insulin really like gave me the advantage that like, have I progressed faster than a lot of individuals in this sport because of insulin? Maybe, but I also think part of it is just because like of my height. I'm a plus 120 that is 6'4", and the only
mm,
time like I really feel like I just have so much more frame to fill out too. Like just the more tissue, like every bit of tissue kind of just helps me gradually get towards that filled frame because like I was a 93 for like a solid year in my training. And then the moment I started actually eating more, my body weight just kind of like exponentially went to 250. And then like I just kept on kind of going up and up and up. So I feel like I only just really started to sort of scratch the surface of what I could really do just because like of the fact that I have a lot of frame to fill out. And I feel like that helps a lot more than the insulin as a whole.
100%. And it's the work and the commitment and the consistency that bring the gains. Not the insulin. Otherwise, every diabetic would be a powerlifter. And at the end of the day, that's the reality around it. One thing though about filling out your frame, um, are you wearing Crocs yet at competition? Gareth Bentley talking to you. So for you, are you wearing Crocs yet?
Oh my. I haven't thought about it. I don't even know if I have a pair of Crocs that are
Yeah.
like readily accessible. They're probably just buried in a suitcase somewhere. I don't, huh. I'll have to look into that. That could
Yeah.
help.
I was chatting to Garrett. He was on the podcast. We were saying like we really got to work very hard. We're very fortunate. The technical director for IPF is a South African, so I said I got to keep nagging him to let Crocs be recognized in sport mode as sport shoes, so he can wear them to the platform. It'll make it a lot more fun. So, a couple of fun questions I wanted to ask you, and you've given me an idea, and I'm going to reach out to Jessica as well, and we'd love to have you back on to chat about the aspect of living with a life-threatening health condition and using training and exercise to benefit, and then turning that benefit into something that become a passion, and that passion into something that becomes a lifestyle, because it's absolutely phenomenal. When you're lifting properly, and again, what I love about powerlifting, if you're not doing it properly, if you're not getting your sleep, you're not getting your nutrition, you're not getting those burgers in, you're not getting in what you need to, the numbers on the bar are not going to move up, irrespective of what you do. So it's a great indicator of self-love and self-worth. So that's something I'd like to do. If you'd like to come on, we'd be honored to have you back for a chat like that.
Oh yeah, I'd be honored to talk to Jess. I mean, I could nominate if you'd
Awesome.
like, I
Yeah,
could like talk to
100%. Abs-
a few other diabetics too.
Please, we would appreciate that. All right, good. We'll set that up off air. So, one of the couple of questions that I love to ask our guests, and some are fun, some are a little bit more serious, but the first two are really fun. So, first off, what do you love about powerlifting?
Oh, I love so I like I guess it's kind of interesting because like there's nothing in particular like on one hand I love the community, I love all the people that I
Mm,
meet, and I love like all the friendships I've built through the sport and all the relationships and all the memories and all that. But like like from a sport side of like things, like lifting as a whole, it just gives me sort of purpose. Like I
sure.
can't imagine a life where I just drift endlessly just pursuing like I've never been really particularly good at academics. I've never been particularly good at like running or like the team sports. So
Mm,
I've never really understood a life where I just kind of push forward in those goals. So like but powerlifting, the progression is so objective. Like if you're lifting a bigger number than last week, you're moving forward as a whole, barring if you know, if unless you're like overshooting by like a mile, but like as long as you're trying, you effectively have like it's always given me something to fall back on as a whole because like, you know, on one hand, like if I have a bad day on campus or something, or something like in my life is not going like 100% according to plan, like I have this as a whole. I just go to the gym and I lift and I have something that I can be proud of that I'm putting in effort and something that I've been working towards for years. And like it's sort of completed me in a way.
yeah, 100%. I got like it becomes a big part of your life, and it becomes one of those pillars or foundational pillars of your life, but it's a good, healthy thing to do, and they're very cool. Absolutely love that response. A little bit more fun. What do you hate about powerlifting? What drives you mad about powerlifting?
Diet, hate it. I hate eating. I am a terrible super heavyweight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the opposite problem. So my problem is that so I'm gonna use Trevor Greenwood as an example. He is one of the best plus 120 powerlifters in Canada. Uh, we have this group chat in PRC called Proof, and we get to see all of each other's macros.
Mm,
And Trevor is the same around the same height as me. So I kind of look at Trevor and be like, okay, that's how big I'm gonna have to get, probably a little bit bigger because I'm like an inch taller than him or
mm,
something.
mm.
But he is 150 kilos right now ish, and he's eating like 600 carbs. And if I ate
Sure.
600 carbs, it would be very difficult.
Mm,
I'd not be able to do, my blood sugar would be high all the time. And so as a result, I get most of my calories from protein, which is healthier and it's easier. Well, not necessarily easier, it's healthier. It's
mm,
just, it can be very painful at times.
sure.
And last, pretty much like for the last the entirety of Nats prep, once I started like really pushing calories, on one hand, it was helping me like get the last bits of juice from prep, but on the other hand, like I was up until like 2 or 3 a.m. sometimes just eating
Yeah.
because like I'd go to school and I'd pack a lunch that's like 1,000 calories, and I'd go home and have like 3,000 more to eat, and then like now I'm trying to push for 5K calories, and like I'm hitting that consistently has had its challenges just because of how I distribute my just meals as a whole. And like, would it be easier if I meal prepped? Probably, and I probably really should do that if I actually want to keep pushing my body weight. But yeah, the diet part is definitely hard. Also, another thing that I hate about powerlifting is probably like I think that hate is kind of an interesting word because like on one hand I despise there's a lot of things in powerlifting that are hard and like that are
Mm,
harder to do, but I've never really despised hated the hard things aside for like stuffing my face at 3 in the morning. But like I've never felt like there's anything in powerlifting that was hard. Like accessories, I don't hate accessories. In
mm,
fact, I do enjoy doing them and pushing them hard for what it's worth. But like I think probably the thing that kind of sort of like the harder side of powerlifting is that I kind of hate that it isn't like fair because not everyone has an equal card at this. Like I really lucked out. I got a really good genetic template and I got like, you know, and I didn't always think I had great genetics. And the moment I
mm,
started sort of believing myself, and the moment I sort of like got better coaching, programming, and so just better overall, like my strength just keeps like kind of going up as a result of that. And of course there's an effort component, but like a large part of it is just also chance because like it just depends. I think Greg Panora said it best. genetics matter, but it just depends on how long you're willing to do this for and
Yeah,
like how, yeah, because on the end of the day, genetics play a role, but they're just such a small part of the picture. Because I know a lot of guys with way better genetics than me that just burn out. Like I've seen 13-year-olds like deadlift. I remember seeing 15-year-olds just rip 675 off the ground
sure.
and then they quit because of something. They get bored or something. Or like kids who are way stronger than me when I was their age, but they just sort of burn out, like they get bored. And that's just kind of the truth of powerlifting. Like on one hand, genetics do matter, but they kind of mean nothing if you're not willing to do the hard stuff. Because like I
Mm-hmm.
have really good genetics, but the only way I was able to actually capitalize on those genetics was those eating ridiculous amounts of calories at ridiculous hours. And like, of course, the training component where I have a bad habit of overshooting back down to accessories, but I feel like that helps me in a way. But
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Sure.
effort is a huge component.
It's, if you want the physical mass, you've got to support that, and there's only one way to do that, right? So, yeah, and it is 3 a.m. in the morning, and then you're getting up late and you're tired for your lifting, and it's all part and parcel of the job. What have you, third question, so what has powerlifting given you?
Um, I'd say the main thing powerlifting has given me is just purpose. It has given me sort of something to strive towards, and it's given me something to sort of channel like all my, negative emotions, positive emotions, like just everything into it. And like I'll have like relationships end or like friendships end or like just stuff happen in my life or I won't like, get the grades I want or I won't like, something bad will happen or something not great will happen. I'll always just like, regardless of how I'm feeling, I'll still go into the gym and lift. And on one hand, doesn't make the pain any easier per se. It just kind of gives me something else to go, okay, I get to do XYZ today.
Mm-hmm. Sure, I love that. It's and it's a safe place. It's a gift. It's something special, and it's something that it's ours. And as you spoke about team sports and other types of sports, but it's a very personal relationship with yourself and with the bar when you're under it and you're moving load. And it's a very good place to be. I know for me, I find it quiet and quietening the noise in the head, and that's a proper gift. That's a phenomenal answer. I love that. Now another fun one. We've pretty much covered this already, but I'm going to give you two nominations. Is there we're going to reach out to Ethan and see if he'd like to chat. Is there someone else that you feel we should chat to?
Um, I feel like okay, so Ethan is definitely going to be one. Another one I feel that could be good, I guess, is oh, this is hard. I mean, I'm trying to think. Because like I know a lot of really, really good powerlifters personally, but like they've had like podcasts on them already, so I'm trying to think of one that hasn't had a podcast on them. Um, hmm. I'm gonna have to
Sure.
go with
Hmm? I was
I'm
going to
just gonna
hit a
think about
drum
this.
roll. Yeah.
I feel like trying to think of a junior.
Mhm.
Uh, I mean, if he wants to, I feel like okay. I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel like Tate Commandier, I'll send you his Instagram, would be a good podcast
Awesome.
just because he did a lot of things as a sub junior and a lot of things as a junior, and he's like we're the same age and we're kind of in the
Mm.
same boat, I guess, and I really relate to him a lot, and
Awesome.
I feel like he would be a good addition.
Thank you. We appreciate that. It's really, for me, one of the reasons that we started this was to give athletes the opportunity to share their stories. Because what I've learned in rehab and in treatment and going to meetings for 18 years, every time you share your story, you benefit and other people benefit from it. And it may be in things that you may not even realize that you've shared, but someone hears that it can make a profound difference to them. So everybody has the right to share their story, and we're really grateful for the opportunity to do that. So thank you for that, and we're looking forward to. We'll reach out to both of them, and I'm looking forward to. I'm going to reach out to Jessica as well again, and see if we can get you guys on, and then if you can share some other athletes that we can get together, I think it'll be a fantastic group chat and opportunity just to hear stories, because whatever age you are, you can understand that this is something that can make a difference. And I have to tell you, Aidan, you have shared some truly incredible insights and um, advice and experience. And it's really been an honor for me to be able to chat with you. And we're very grateful for the time that you've made and for what you've shared, and your openness, your honesty, your frankness. It was absolutely wonderful to chat to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was an honor to be here. And yeah, I mean, everything, like honestly, if I could summarize the best phrase,
Mm?
I think the best closing note I could put on this for like anyone who, is interested, shit happens. And it's not, and something my friends kind of say all the time is it's not about how hard you can get hit, it's about how hard you could get hit and get back up.
Yep.
Because everyone can take punches. It's just can you take a punch and keep rolling with them and just keep getting up? Because powerlifting is just about getting hit over and over and over again. And the people who win in the sport are the ones who could like survive the most hits.
Yeah. Sure. Love that. Love that. And by the way, we do have another comment for you, but this is from the Village Lifter. You will smash that squat.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
So there you go, dude. Oh, it was an absolute honor to be able to chat to you. And we're looking really forward to having you back on and chatting soon. So thank you for your time.
Thank you
Thank you
so much
for
for
your
having me. It was a
shit.
pleasure.
You got it, dude. Absolutely epic. Have an awesome day. Thank you, everyone, for
You too.
watching. And I'm going to be chatting to two crazy brothers from Cape Town who came out and smashed it at Nationals. If you want to stay on to that, and it'll be up in about 2 or 3 minutes. And the pinkest socks you've ever seen in your entire life. Or lifting socks or lifting shoes, one of the two. But yeah, thanks, dude, for your time. We really appreciate it. Have
Thank
an
you so
awesome
much.
day. Take care. Cheers. Bye bye.
Take care.
Absolutely fantastic opportunity there, chatting with Aidan Dubins. And stay with us, guys. We'll be back shortly with the Raw Brothers from Cape Town. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you shortly.